This is a square steel tube with a length of 500 millimeters and has a height and width equal to 18 millimeters. Now I will cut it into two separate parts. And now the angle iron tube has been cut. And this is another square steel tube with a length of 80 millimeters. I cut it into two separate parts as before. Then, I take the cut pieces of metal and join them together. And this is the piece of metal that needs to be attached to this work. This is the iron that I will be welding. I will link it here. I have to click on the pierced hole. I have to cut the metal into pieces like this for the next task. For this iron I have to bend it into two forms like this. As for this long iron I have to cut its ends like this. I have to cut them both like this. I now weld these pieces of metal to the planned shape. Let's see the results done. I welded these to this form according to a set task. This one looks as simple and easy as I showed you in this video. I put it on top of each other. And I screwed a 3mm bolt right here. Then it will come out like this. Now, it's time to cut the metal sheet. This sheet of metal I had to cut to a length of 520 millimeters. And width. I need to cut a length of 225 millimeters. Let's see. Now I take a clamp meter to measure the thickness of this sheet metal. This sheet metal is 0.71 millimeters thick. This sheet metal, I will attach it to this steel frame. Now I specify the width again. The first width is 80 millimeters. And the second width is 80 millimeters. Then I divide the sides evenly to leave space for the frame in the middle. After calculating the format, it is time to put the frame on the sheet metal to weld together. After welding, I had to check if the task was done correctly. Then both edges are bent like this. And I have to cut sheet metal like this. I put it here. And welding. I bend the sheet metal like this to put on the tail. I had to draw a pattern on this sheet metal and cut it according to the drawing. Then I have to link it here. I bend the sheet metal like this to help strengthen the tail section. Now I cut a sheet of metal that is 110 millimeters high and length 210 millimeters. Now I bend the bottom edge of this sheet metal. I have to bend it like this. Then I had to weld these two pieces of metal together with this back cover. After making the back cover, now I start welding the side cover. Now come to the front barrier. At the front, I had to bend the sheet metal a little bigger, and I had to weld at the top. As for the sides and bottom, I just cut the sheet metal small enough and welded it. Then I started making tips to hook the sidebars. I use a motorcycle spoke to make a hook. And this is the front valve roof barrier. I put it in here and grabbed the bolt. For this roof cover, I can't set the height according to the height of the cabin. Now I weld the bottom floor to hold the dump bed. This is the back part where I had to weld the oblique pillars. And this is the front where I also have to weld the oblique pillars. And this is the sidebar where I have to weld the oblique pillars on both sides as well as the front and the back. Okay, now the dump bed is almost done. Let's take a look at the task a bit. I open the left barrier, drop down, and I push the back cover up. I open the right barrier and dropped it. Check it out with me. Proceed to the next task. The task is now complete. The dump bed is done. Let's see the results together.